And us welcome everyone. Thanks for watching us this morning. So welcome Bob and Carolyn, Elizabeth, Michael, Roz, and all those that are watching us on Facebook. So today we've got Ian Chabelle on the call. So welcome, Ian.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
And Ian has a science background, and we've got Carmel on the call too. So welcome.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone knows Dr. Kurt. So, so we thought we would do a bit of a roundtable discussion today and answer a few questions, talk about a couple of different topics, and have a little bit of interaction. So if you are watching us, if you're on the Zoom call and you're watching us, feel free to put in a question in the chat box. And if you're watching us on Facebook, I will open my Facebook and have a look there. So if you do ask a question there, I should be able to see it. Are you in the Sisel World team, Kurt?
I am. We're live there. And so, yeah.
Okay. So, so Ian, you were asked, so would you like to kick off, Ian, with some discussion first?
Yeah, look, when you asked me to join this webinar, I thought I was having you think about something that's really been I've been looking at for quite a while, and it's we don't seem to cover the nitric oxide part of things, and it's really an important molecule, and we have it in our product, and I'd just like to put it through for discussion is why we think it's a very important molecule and what it might do for us. And I'll just say a few things like that. In my particular instance, it was great for probably helping blood pressure.
Yes.
It brought down that, but it has many other aspects to it too, which we don't really, well, I haven't really heard a discussion of it. And things are like helping arthritis. It's a signaling molecule which goes right through every cell in the body. It helps our immune system. All these sorts of things. So has anybody got any comments on this particular molecule or product?
I'll hand over to Dr. Kurt. Before we do, Ian, do you want to share with everyone watching your testimonial, because this product has been really effective to support you, hasn't it, with your blood pressure?
Which product? Which product?
Or Restore.
Or Restore.
Right.
Sorry.
That's what I thought, but you didn't mention it.
Oh,
No,
we had to mention product. Okay. Okay. Yeah, For Restore was really a phenomenal product. I, for some reason in my life, had a normal blood pressure. Then it decided to elevate. So it went from probably about 130 over 80 to about 150 over 90, I think it was, from memory, and which was really just above the limits we should be having. And so I decided, after taking medications and things which weren't really controlling it that well, and the side effects of those were sometimes a little bit, I didn't particularly like them for that matter. So when they brought For Restore out, I did a bit of a study, and I thought, wow, this is probably something that I can look. So I actually stopped taking the medication for a short time so I could sort of evaluate it. Naughty, probably, but anyway, I started taking For Restore, and within probably a few days, I noticed a really big influence on my blood pressure. It actually dropped down into the 130s and over 85s and things like that. So it showed me that nitric oxide, which is a big component of this product, was extremely important. And so if you look at it, it really helps protect your cardiovascular system, helps in protecting the endothelial type of your blood vessels right through to capillaries. And so, that's one of the things that I found was really helpful for me. So I'm sure that other people have probably found that out now too.
There's a lot that actually don't. Yeah, sorry, go on, Kurt.
Well, I was just going to say that, Ian, if you go back, I think it was in 1998, the Nobel Prize was given to a group of scientists for their work on L-arginine. So it's not actually nitric oxide that's in the product. It's actually red beet juice, L-citrulline, L-arginine, and those are the precursors for nitric oxide. Your body actually makes the nitric oxide, and which is better anyhow, because you know the nice thing about nutrition is that we give the body what it needs to make what it needs, versus a drug, you know, like you were saying, you were taking medication and you were addressing the high blood pressure, but it wasn't fixing the problem. And so how does the nitric oxide, how does the L-arginine, how does the L-citrulline, how does the red beet juice, how does it actually work? So think of it like this: is that I mean, you've got a mechanical background, as engineering background, and so you understand that if you put pressure in a pipe, if you put too much pressure, the pipe's going to explode, right? And if the pipe is smaller and you try and push just as much fluid through it, you know, what's going to happen is it's going to increase the pressure. So in our body, what happens is we start to develop atherosclerosis, where the arteries get hard and the arteries won't stretch anymore. So when you hear somebody say, oh, they have blood pressure of 120 over 80, for example, when the heart squeezes, it's got 120 pounds of pressure. When it relaxes, there's 80 pounds of residual pressure. So there's always 80 pounds of pressure in the pipes in your system, in the arteries and the veins. But what happens is that the 120 pounds, then when these little, let's call them sensors in your body, they sense that the arteries are hard and it's having to push so hard. What it does is it stretches the artery, and the artery starts to get tears in it. And that's the problems with having high blood pressure. So nitric oxide, L-citrulline, L-arginine, what they do is they soften that artery back up. So now when the heart pushes, the artery stretches so it can accept that higher pressure. And so now your blood pressure goes down. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's not actually changing the pressure. It's changing the way that your body holds the pressure by having the vessel so they stretch, so your heart doesn't have to push as hard. Hopefully that makes sense.
So, so does that help for people with low blood pressure as well? Does it sort of help either side?
I mean, low blood pressure isn't due to the same thing. I mean, there's other factors that have to do with low blood pressure, and generally speaking, you know, those would be issues that I'd address a little bit differently.
Okay, yeah. I found 4Restore really good for energy as well. I find it gives me a lot of energy if I need to go and work in the garden or something. So I guess that's to do with more blood circulating through the heart as well, and the blood vessels. Yeah, no, it's wonderful.
Yeah, with the low blood pressure, if somebody had low blood pressure and they took it, it could drop it a little bit further, couldn't it? So that wouldn't, no,
because remember, it's not a drug. Drugs will make your body do something it's not supposed to do, because it's nutrition, and your body's only going to use it as much as it needs it. It's not going to make the blood pressure drop any lower.
Is that what an adaptogen's called?
I believe it will drop it lower when you actually, if you're taking them with medication as well. So you don't take them both. If you take them both, you will get a blood pressure drop. Yeah. And I know that for a fact. So it's really important to actually monitor your blood pressure when you're taking these things. But see your doctor before you start removing any medications. Very important. I do that. I actually have a medical every so often, and when I did mine, I decided to come off it, and he wasn't happy. But anyway, I did it, and it worked out well.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to tell your doctor what you're gonna do, and he has to adapt to you rather than you listening to him.
Sometimes you are your best doctor, aren't you? In some instances, and. But the other thing about this nitric oxide, and I'll put it to you again, is that from some of the research I've done, is it's very helpful for osteoarthritis, things like that. There's other aspects to it that are really helpful. So not just for blood pressure, but quite a number of things in the body. Immune system, it actually helps relieve cytokine activity. There's a lot of things involved. Kurt, give us a talk on that, or something that you know about that on the osteoarthritis, because a lot of people suffer with joint pains and osteoarthritis and various things. So interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I've talked about the 4Restore product on the doctor's call that we do on Tuesdays. We've changed that to Thursdays now, but yeah, I've covered all the mechanisms, how it works. So you bet.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. Yeah.
It's a cool
Anyway.
It's a good product. Good product.
Yeah.
No wonder they got the Nobel Prize, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's actually from what I can research, it's had 100,000 papers written about it. So it shows it's had a lot of interest by science people and whatever. So, and it's still going on, I believe. So
You bet.
And a lot of people, suffer from high blood pressure. So it's very common. And, I get, nothing we say on the call is designed to treat, prevent, or cure anything. And you should always consult your doctor. But this product definitely is something that can support your blood pressure and have pretty amazing results that you could be quite shocked about. So definitely worth looking into that product. And as Ian said, if you are taking it, it's important to monitor yourself and consult with your doctor if you're taking medication. But it is an effective product. And Kurt, so just to recap, why is it important that we, control our blood pressure? What is what harm can it cause by it being elevated all the time?
You bet. Well, I mean, just like I was saying earlier, if you put too much pressure in the water pipes in your house, and you have that pressure in there for a long period of time, eventually, the system is going to explode. And so you don't want your pipes in your body, which are when I say pipes, I mean the arteries and the veins and things like that. You don't want them to explode. But the other thing that can happen, is and when I say explode, that's what we call an aneurysm, like a dissecting aneurysm, right? And I mean, so your arteries do actually explode if the pressure's in there for too long, because
is that what an aneurysm is? Is that
what
an
aneurysm? Yeah, it means the arteries have exploded. They've ripped and torn, and so you don't want to have high blood pressure. That's the dangers of it. And for guys like Ian and I, they call it the widowmaker, because it's silent. 40% of people who die from this type of a problem, they don't even know. They don't have a symptom. They don't have any symptoms at all. Maybe they get dizzy once in a while. Maybe they get lightheaded once in a while, but nothing where they really go, oh, I have something wrong with me, and they go to their doctor. And so it's called the widowmaker, because all of a sudden they're out there, they're mowing the lawn, they're doing something, and all of a sudden they just fall over, and the first symptom they have is when they're dead. Yeah, and 40% of people.
Yeah,
it's frightening. Do you think this would help for people with heart palpitations as well?
It can, yeah, because I mean, if you're high blood pressure, if you're starting to have high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, that's all going to show up this way. Yeah, a lot of times palpitations, though, I've found, this is just my personal finding, I found that typically it's related to heavy metal toxicity.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and 4Restore helps with that, because, again, think about it. What's causing the high blood pressure in the first place, which is atherosclerosis. And what causes atherosclerosis? Toxicity.
Ah.
And so that's interesting, because it comes back to your occupation. Different occupations have different, risks associated with them, because you're being subjected to continual toxins, which obviously on a short-term basis probably not going to cause too much problems. But if you're working in that industry your whole life, what is the compounding effect of that? And it makes me think about my dad, because he worked as an aircraft maintenance engineer, and they would be soldering, with the soldering irons. And I remember when I was in year 12 going into his office, and there was 5 guys seated around a table, and they were all soldering away with those metals on their circuit boards, and the whole room was filled with smoke, which would have been the smoke from the metals. and there was no ventilation in there at all. And, and they're breathing it in. What is the compounding effect of doing that to yourself over how many years? So I think that definitely played a role in his illness. He developed Alzheimer's, and he also, one of his first symptoms was high blood pressure as well.
You bet. Yeah. And, I mean, think about the aircraft industry. What's the one metal that they use a lot of in aircraft?
Is it aluminum? Yeah.
Aluminum. Yeah. And the aluminum, they've related that to Alzheimer's. You look at any of the studies out there, there's hundreds or probably thousands of studies relating that aluminum to that.
And people are still cooking with that too. I see a lot of people wrapping their potatoes, wrapping their fish, and all of that. When the aluminium, we pronounce it, does it come in contact with the water?
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty blunt with this. I don't think it's coming as much from your cookware and stuff like that as you think. Yeah. I mean, think about it. In your gut, if your gut's working properly, your gut has a protective layer. It's got that mucus layer, and whether it's a Teflon frying pan or an aluminum frying pan, or aluminum foil, no, I don't think that's where it's coming from. I think a lot of it's coming from, we're breathing it in, just like you were saying with your dad. You're getting it on your skin. We take and we look at the antiperspirants, armpit spray. There's a lot of aluminum in that. You take a look at a lot of personal care products. They put aluminum in there, and it's I think we're getting more of it with that. And then you take a look at even some medications and that it's in there. So I think that we're having more problems with that than we are from the food, right. Just because the gut barrier. And if you are getting it from your gut, chances are you're going to die from cancer before you're going to die from Alzheimer's.
So that leads us on to so what product is great for supporting the body in that regard? It would be probably our best would be Body Shield. Is that right?
I would say that Body Shield would be good. Although, the fulvic acid doesn't have a high affinity for aluminum.
All right.
Because aluminum is a little bit different metal, not like lead and mercury. Lead and mercury, and some of them they have. Look at the chemical makeup of it, and the electrical charge that the metal has, and so like lead and mercury have a +2. Where aluminum, I can't remember. Ian, do you know what the charge is on aluminum?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
Not off the top of my head, no.
Yeah, so fulvic acid and zeolite don't have a lot of affinity for aluminum, and so it's a little bit trickier to get it out. I would say you're going to have better results pulling that out using something like fucoidan.
All right. Wow.
What about, I've heard somewhere along the line that a lot of the heavy metals and chemicals get stored in the mucoid plaque. So do you think the super detox would be helpful for this? Super
detox would be great for pulling the heavy metals out of the mucoid plaques, you bet, because it eliminates them. And then, like I said, the 4 Restore for getting it out of the arteries.
Okay.
Wow. So you could do a little bit of a combination detox there. So you've got the 4 Restore, the fucoidan, and the super detox.
Right. And then we don't want to forget using the collagen as well, because, in your gut, you take a look at the cells and they're all tightly packed together. So the cells are supposed to be like this. One cell, because your intestinal lining is only 1 cell layer thick. And so the cells are tightly packed together like this. But what happens is that we start getting inflammation, we start getting toxicity, we start killing off the normal microflora in our gut, like the healthy bacteria and things like that. And what happens is the gut gets inflamed, so those cells start to spread apart. And now we have holes between the cells, and that's what we call leaky gut syndrome. And so collagen seals that back up. So the collagen B3 product would be important for that reason.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
wonderful.
Question.
Yeah. Go on.
Did I hear somewhere too that the collagen product is good for, does it have melatonin in it?
It has some melatonin in it, yeah.
Okay, because I'm in a group where there's quite a bit of chat about melatonin at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was in there.
Okay, great. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Ian, did you want to ask something?
I just had a question, just getting back to the super detox. Somebody might be able to elucidate this. When you're taking it, there's a 4-day program. So when you are actually detoxing, your flora was obviously being detoxed with it, right? It's disappearing. So do you actually increase your flora every time you take your detox, or after, or when? When's the best time to repopulate that area of your gut?
You know, I don't think that the super detox has anything in it that's going to pull out the normal healthy bacteria out of the gut. I think it's only going to pull out the bad stuff. It's going to loosen up the mucoid plaque. Sure, you're going to lose some, but you got to remember that the healthy bacteria, if you create a good situation in there, they're going to repopulate themselves really quickly. And so I don't think you have to really go, well, you know, I'm going to take super detox. Do I need to take something with it? I mean, you should be taking something with it every day anyhow. You should be taking the Balance D, even if you're not taking the super detox. And I think, I mean, in my feeling, the fulvic acid, if you're, you know, which is what's in Body Shield, it's also in Spectrum Act. If you're not taking that along with your Balance D, you're not doing yourself a full service, because the fulvic acid creates an environment that allows the healthy bacteria to grow. It's like if I go out here in my garden and I want to plant seeds next spring, if I don't go out there and put fertilizer in the soil, if I don't put compost in the soil, I'm not going to get as good a garden. I'm not going to get as good a crop. And so that's what the fulvic acid does in your gut. It creates the soil for the healthy bacteria to live in.
And one of the other important things for doing that too through diet is obviously fiber. A lot of people don't eat enough fiber. They say 95%, I think, of Americans are not meeting their daily recommended fiber intake. I imagine it would be something similar here. So it's the fiber in food, which of course comes from plant-based foods, creates that environment for the good bacteria to flourish, doesn't it? And so if you're very low fiber diet, you're going to have, it's going to disrupt that gut bacteria.
That's right.
So Carmel, did you have a question? Anything else you'd like to discuss?
No, not really. No, not really a question. I think I have an interest in depression, actually, yes, because I think, you know, I went on medical retirement for anxiety and depression almost 20 years ago. And I think it's just important for people to know that, I know when a person is suffering depression, you lose a lot of motivation to do things. It's very debilitating. Mm-hmm. And I know in my case, I just found it really hard to get by just going to hang out the washing. You know, I'd have to have a rest after hanging out the washing, and then I'd have to really psych myself up to go and have a shower. It's just so debilitating. And I think at the moment, a lot of people are suffering, well, both anxiety and depression. Mm. But, you know, I have found Brain Vitality to be really helpful for that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. But I just really feel for people who are going through this sort of thing at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And Carmel, a lot of yours, when you were really quite bad for you, it was to do a lot, you were suffering a lot of back pain too, wasn't it? So the pain was amplifying the depression. And I know for me too, pain causes, well, for me, has caused tremendous amount of anxiety.
Yeah. Well, after I broke my back, I was on endone for 12 months. Yeah. And sometimes that wasn't even enough. I mean, I was taking the maximum amount that I was allowed to have, but it still wasn't enough to get on top of my pain. So I was seeing a doctor very regularly and also a psychologist. And but I was also taking paracetamol and ibuprofen as well. But it got to the point, you know, still even 5 years after my accident, I still had a lot of pain. And I felt that I was just getting worse instead of better. And I thought, surely I should be better by now. But it wasn't until I learned that a lot of medication I was taking actually did wreck my gut. So then I had to turn around and do a whole heap of, you know, gut restoring programs. It took me a long time to get to that point, but I'd always been interested in looking at ingredients in products, and, you know, I'd compare not just ingredients, but also the amount of ingredient and also the combination for them working synergistically together. And I found that, I don't know, any of the Sisel products I take, I just love, and I've always compared them with other things that I was taking, and I'd write it down and compare. But once I did get on top of my gut health, it just helped to take away my pain. Right. So I ended up coming off painkillers. I came off painkillers, I came off antidepressants, and I don't take any medication now. I just take my supplements. But it took me a long time to get to that point of researching and trialing and, you know, just searching, going from practitioner to practitioner and having all sorts of tests done, and nobody could help me. And, you know, I was told by several people I might just have to learn to live with it, but I knew there'd have to be a way somehow to get on top of it. And I'm just so pleased that I did.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I know, I just feel great. I feel great now. And I know a lot of people spend a lot of time, a lot of money trying to get better. And I sort of feel, I don't know, I just feel that I've learned a lot, and I feel a bit sad for people searching and not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just really happy with everything that I've found and experienced.
You know, Carmel, that kind of leads me into one of the questions that somebody asked me. They said that, okay, so we've got a lot of people out there who are taking nutrition, right? They say 80% of people take at least something. It might just be a multivitamin, you know, I'm not going to name any products, but it might just be a multivitamin, and that's all they take, a one-a-day type of a product. And so the question that somebody asked me, I've got a few on my phone here, is that, okay, there's thousands of nutrition companies, and here we have Sisel, and we've got, you know, I mean, we consider the products, you know, we have less than 50 products, and we consider them to be some of the best. But now we come across somebody who's taking another product from another company, and they're happy with their company. And so the question is that how do we introduce Sisel to those people? And you know, in my answer, I kind of was thinking about it when I got the question, sent to me, was, you know, in a lot of cases, like if I went to you, Katie, and I said, hey, Katie, well, don't take your product, take our product, it's better. And right away, you're gonna put up that wall, you know, and you're gonna put up that wall, you're gonna put up that barrier, and you're gonna say, oh no, my product's, it's working great, you know, and I'm just gonna keep taking what I'm taking. And I'm sure all three of you have experienced, you know, running into people who say, oh no, I'm already happy with the product that I have. So my answer to that is that, okay, so I wanted to introduce you to a new product. And you've just got down, like, let's say I'm talking to Carmel, and Carmel says, I've got all this pain, I've got all these different things going on, and you know, and we know the one common denominator with everything that she had going on: pain, inflammation, fatigue, digestive problems. The one common denominator that Carmel had is her gut. So why not introduce a product that's going to help kind of heal up the gut. And that's where the collagen product. So I'd say, well, keep taking what you're taking. If you're happy with the company that you're with right now, keep taking all the products you've taken, but add this collagen B3 product. Add this product along with everything that you're doing. And let's just do this for a month, because I promise you, Carmel, if I come back to you in 2 weeks, if you follow what I'm recommending, twice a day, taking Sisel, collagen B3, if you take it twice a day and I come back to you in 2 weeks, I promise you, you're going to be better.
Can you promise that though?
I would promise her that, because I know that it would make that much of a difference with her. If she was taking the collagen B3 product, if I would have found her years ago when she was suffering from all that pain, and I would have just gotten her to take this along with any of the other products she was taking from the other company, she would feel better. And now you can say, now when you come back in 2 weeks, and I'm answering this distributor's question, now when I come back in 2 weeks, I can say, hey, Carmel, since that product worked so well for you, why don't you try another one of our products? Right? So you see how I led her into another product, and I'm going to add one more. Like I might say, try the fucoidan. And why would I go with the fucoidan next? Well, because I think that inflammation is a primary symptom of almost every chronic problem that there is on the planet. So the next thing that I would say is, I'd say, hey, Carmel, add the fucoidan in with what you're doing, and I'll call you back in another 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, I would put money on it that Carmel's even going to feel better. And now I can say, Carmel, instead of taking the products from your company, why don't you switch to taking all the products from our company? And now I've kind of pulled her over to the other side. I've pulled her over to the good side versus the dark side.
The dark side.
So
okay.
anyhow, that I kind of gave the question and I gave my answer at the same time. But Carmel kind of led me into it. It was a perfect time to bring that
a lot
up.
of it's by experience, isn't it? You don't know how good something is until you experience it. And I find with everything I take, you experience things pretty well straight away. I do, like the 4-Restore, you experience that energy straight away. The age pill, you experience, to me, it felt like a magic sort of switch had turned on in my body when I first started taking it. And it gave me confidence to feel that I'm finally on the track to start healing. It was quite magical, I found.
Beautiful.
Great testimonial, Carmel. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Should we wrap it up there, Kurt?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna add one more question that somebody asked me. They said, what's the best way to get started with Sisel? What's the best way to start your business? And I know my answer. My answer is get on the products, become a product of the product, get your own testimonial. I mean, your testimonial might be something as simple as, hey, I started taking the products and I feel more energy. I started taking the products, I sleep better. I started feeling the products and I feel younger. I have better energy. Ian, if somebody asked you that question, what's the best way to get started in Sisel? How did you get started? What would be your answer?
Excuse me, how I got started was, I'd been introduced to these brilliant products way back. And so when I was introduced to it, it was because I had reasons to remain healthy. My whole being was having way back suffered with cancer. And so I was very up with the fact is that I needed to keep my immune system tip top. And that's why I went and followed really Sisel or Tom Mauer and his products, because they were of very high efficacy. I trusted their chemistry, I trusted their science. And so that's what got me into it, or got me swung over from the other company to Sisel. And to this day, I'm feeling great. My whole being is really tip top. I feel younger, to be quite honest. whether I'm looking older, I still feel younger. So that's one of my entrances to this particular company. Mm.
Yeah.
Excellent. Katie, what would be your answer? Or Carmel, what's your answer?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I definitely feel I'm getting better as I get older. I'm 63 now, and I'm just so much better than I was. Well, definitely 10 years ago, but even 20 years ago, you know, and I find it exciting just to know you're getting better as you get older.
There you go. Great answer. That's what you share with people. I mean, I remember when I first met you down there in was it
I'm in
over
Brisbane. I met you in
in
Brisbane.
Brisbane, yeah. And you said, "Oh, I just don't know how to do this. I don't know how to build this business." And I remember you asking me that question when I was at that meeting down there. And now you have your answer. Your answer is, "Hey, listen to my story." And then who wouldn't want that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I actually started making money with Sisel just by buying products for myself and my daughter. I didn't know how I was making money, but you know, money was starting to come in, and I didn't know what I was doing.
That's even a better answer, is right. I don't even know where the money's coming from. It just shows up. It's magic.
I know.
Katie, what's your answer? What's your answer? What if I asked you, I said, what's the best way? How did you get started in Sizzle? What would you tell me?
I got started by being a product of the product, I guess. My interest, you know, like Ian shared with us today, his interest personally, he'd had that life challenge and was determined to overcome and maintain good health. For me, it wasn't my challenge, it was my father's challenge, getting Alzheimer's at 54. So I had this great interest to want to preserve my health for as long as possible. So that kind of got me in. And also, you know, being able to trust a company that makes high quality products, like what Ian said. People don't realize when they're going and buying stuff in the supermarket or off the shelf, you know, you don't know who's manufactured it or the quality. I remember a friend showing me the other day this multivitamin he was taking, and it had like 1/100th of the amount of each of the nutrients in it compared to a Sizzle product. It was, so you get what you pay for, and also you don't know how are they making it. Is it safe when they're making it? So those things, I guess it's about finding what the person's motive is. You know, their button, and you know what do we have for them that can, I guess, meet those needs.
You bet. You know, last night I had the doctor's clinic call, and Andrea and I were talking about that. You know, in today's world, right, with everything that's going on, and I'm not going to mention it, but we all know what I'm talking about. With everything that's going on, so many people are so worried about that. They're so worried about tomorrow. You know, will I be alive tomorrow? Will I be healthy tomorrow? Will I be healthy in a month? Will I be healthy in 6 months? It's hard for people to start thinking 5 years down the road. You know, how do I plan how I'm going to feel in 5, 10, 20 years if I don't even know if I'm going to be around in 6 months? So it's kind of a stressful time in the world right now because of that.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, and that's why we love this company, is because we have such great products that can support our health, even from things as Carmel's touched on, you know, helping with her anxiety and depression. And, you know, and that, you know, for everyone, you know, is much more likely to suffer from these things, especially at this time and what's going on in the world. So really taking care of self and putting self first, and just looking after yourself. A lot of people always running around looking after everyone else, and they're always at the back of the queue. Well, you know, maybe today, if you're watching, it's time to put you at the front of the queue and, you know, start doing things for yourself to really take care of yourself. Because like my mom said, she said, nobody is ever going to look after you as good as you are going to look after yourself. So, and we shouldn't expect that of others if we, you know, are not doing it for ourselves.
That's right. You got that right. Well, that's a good way. That's a good thing to think of and ending the call. So Ian and Carmel, Katie, thanks for being with us and being on the panel tonight and answering these questions and bringing questions to it. you know, and I guess Michael has one other question. Does Sisel have any products to rehydrate dried spinal discs? Yes, the answer to that, Michael, is yes. And you know, we can't prescribe or anything like that, but it would be the collagen product combined with the fucoidin product combined with the Renovator product and combined with the Sisel Eternity product. It's going to be a combination because there's a number of things that causes the disc to actually start to thin out anyhow. If you understand how the disc is made out of mostly cartilage. There isn't a really good blood supply to it. And exercise, stretching, yoga would be really good for that disc. But you know, everyone, thanks for being with us tonight. I had to answer Michael's question quick, otherwise he gets upset and he puts a hex on me and things like that, and I didn't want that.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Hope you have a great weekend, and we appreciate you taking the time to watch the call.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Kurt.
Okay. Thanks, Ian, for getting on. Thanks, Carmel.
Okay, thanks for organising.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.